I don't want like let's go ahead and get this out. I don't want any more consolidation. Like that shit, it don't do nothing for me. It don't put no money in my pocket. It don't put no money in our pocket. And more importantly, like it don't make it doesn't bring the competition that's necessary for an industry to thrive. But do y'all think could you see like Microsoft buying a Japanese developer, and if so, which one? So, Will, do you see them buying a Japanese developer, and like which would be the one that you're like, yeah, I can see them like go ahead and scooping them up?
While we got to this, before we got to this question, I was slightly thinking about it a little bit. I was like, let me run through the list of companies that I know that are strictly Japanese in my head. And I was asking myself, could they get them? No. Could they get them? No. Could they get them? No. And I think a lot of the problem that's gonna come with them getting a Japanese company is that Japanese companies do not bend well when it comes to change. So I feel like if they are going to get one, I couldn't even tell you who they would get because it would have to take a real outlier for them to actually get a Japanese dev. And I myself, I'm just like you. I don't want no more consolidation, but I think a Japanese dev with Microsoft would give them a lot more goodwill in Japan because if you've seen the history with Xbox in Japan, they ain't do too hot here and there, especially because them folks put so much money when the Xbox 360 and Xbox One came out. Like they had stuff on the streets, banners,
Launch party
lights.
photos be looking so sad.
They do, bro, and it's so pitiful. I'm just like, come on, man. The
Be
Xbox
like 10
really
people
ain't
there.
hitting. Exactly, like 10 people there on the floor, maybe a DJ. The bartender ain't serving no drinks to nobody. He just kind of back there just shaking the shaker just because. So I'm just kind of like, bro, what's wrong with y'all in Japan? Do y'all not like it? But then when I think about it, it makes sense at least during those times because, like Terrence said, they big on shooters on Xbox, and I feel like that's not the demographic you're gonna be hitting in Japan. You're gonna hit Japan mostly with JRPGs and
It
probably
does alright
platformers
over
and stuff
there.
you can
You know, it
bring.
don't like destroy it, but it does alright over there. It sells well pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't see them getting one. The only way they do it is if they do these games right and let these companies do exactly what they need to. But other than that, Microsoft with a Japanese dev, I'm gonna give them some years to kind of figure out who they may want before they decide they want something. Because if they pick the wrong one and the games they put out don't hit, that Xbox gonna forever just kind of be lost in Japan.
I mean, I agree to an extent because I mean I do feel like Microsoft just has talked about trying to improve the Japanese relations. Like every so often, Phil Spencer will tweet out something about like, yeah, you know, our relationships in Japanese are have never been more important to us, and then they'll kind of
Mm-hmm.
sort of prove it because like if I'm not mistaken, the first time we saw Kingdom Hearts 3 was at a Microsoft conference. I
Yeah.
know for certain Devil May Cry 5, that was the first time we saw them like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Capcom
Yeah.
that like they got to talk through with Capcom. They was like, no, fuck Sony. We want that. Like they and then like Fantasy Star. Like Sony had the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to pony up for that and they didn't. They was like, nah, we ain't coming off nothing. And Microsoft was like, bet, we'll pay for it. Like we'll pay to have it localized and bring it over here and it'll only be on
Mm-hmm.
Xbox. Which I mean, like, to their credit, I don't blame them. Like, I'm not doing that multi-platform. Fuck y'all. Like, you had the opportunity to pay for it and you didn't want to. So like, no, we get to reap the
Mm-hmm.
benefits of that. Uh
Exactly.
Rakeem, what game like do you see them getting a Japanese developer and if so, which one?
Platinum immediately. As soon as I thought about it, it's
Yeah,
not even a debate. They
yeah.
already worked with them on a previous project, even though it got canceled. When I think about Platinum, their whole culture is combat, twitch reflexes that fits right in with the Xbox culture. Right now, Platinum just came off of a really bad sale with Babylon's Fall that got lambasted.
Mm.
They kind of need something to kind of build themselves back up. They're the perfect support studio for combat games. They've basically been the support studio of the entire industry. When people want to get like better combat in their games, they'll literally get Platinum to come in and do just their combat because they're so good at doing combat. That would be a great support system for like a new AAA third person action game for like Xbox with Platinum as either a support studio or the heading studio doing the combat for that game. I feel like they would fit in perfectly with that culture. If I were to get a developer, I think Platinum would fit because they kind of fit in with like we all know that like Xbox is the shooter, multiplayer predominant console, and just having another studio that can help them with combat and like really getting that good feel of combat I think that's something that Xbox will be looking forward to, especially now that like Platinum, they probably need a little support because it's I don't know when Bayonetta 3 is coming out. They would have to finish that first, obviously, but we all know that they take a long time between different projects. Some of their smaller projects don't always pan out well, like the ones with like they take out IPs for like animes and cartoons and stuff like that.
Hold on. You know what I don't like about Platinum?
What's that?
Everybody else knows that to some extent. Like I know they listen to it. Feel like this is not what's happening, but this is what I feel like is what's happening. It feels like they listen too much to gamers, and gamers, they never satisfied. They always want a new IP. They always new IP.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they be like, fuck the sequels. All I want is new IP. And Platinum plays a little too much into that, and it can work sometimes. But I'm gonna be honest, getting it right the first time is really hard, and iteration is usually the name of the game. And you iterate on a game, you like look at what worked, what didn't, and you improve on it. And they don't want it. Feel like it's always some new IP coming out. Like no. Take one of the ones that fucking worked, like Astral Chain or whatever, and like iterate on that. Make a sequel. Make that game better. And then like the thing is, people don't want to try new IP. They don't. They're not really big on that. Like sometimes a new IP will sell, but you know what sells better than a new IP? The sequel to that, a new IP once it's already been established. That motherfucker really sell. So like to sit there and always try to generate new IP, it's admirable, but like that's kind of how you got in the situation that you in. Like you always trying to try new shit, which I congratulate you for, but like at the level that y'all at, like unless you're trying to switch, like go downscale and make a whole bunch of fucking pixel art type RPGs, pixel art games, you gonna keep running into these problems because it's hard. It's hard as shit to make a really quality new IP. You're not gonna knock it out of the park every time. My bad, man. Keep going.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that was the main one I was thinking of. If Xbox would acquire a studio, that was instantly. As soon as I thought about it, my mind went straight to Vanquish, and like how the combat that game was like revolutionary. Even though it didn't sell very well, but like playing that game left a hell of an impact on me. Like it was such an interesting experience, so fun. And it felt like right along the lines of what an Xbox exclusive would have been back then. Like it would have jumped right in there. So I thought about Platinum. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.